Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lana. So if you've been here for a while, you know my monthly series, which is Finds, where I tell you about all the recent additions to my TBR. This is not a list of books that I'm planning to read right now or in the near future, or books that I'm about to purchase. It's literally just books that I've heard of during this latest month and added to my Goodreads want to read. Maybe I will get to these books. Maybe some of these books will be here for years, and who knows if I will ever read them. I just want to share with you some books that I found that I think sound very interesting. Maybe you read some of these and you can tell me if they're actually good, or you might find something that sounds interesting to you as well. So the thing is, in March I skipped this video because I was overwhelmed. I was participating in 3 different readathons. Everything apart from the vlogs that I was doing in March sort of fell apart, so I actually didn't do a March finds video, and there are so many books that I added in March. I added 30 books to my want to read on Goodreads. I will not talk to you about 30 books, so instead I will mention 10 books from my want to read that was added in March. So quite a few books in March are very popular right now that everyone is talking about. So I thought in my 10 March books, I would mention others that maybe you have not heard of. First off, I feel like was very popular, so maybe you have heard of it, but I just wanted to talk about it. Black Book by Mateusz Karipor. This is fiction, contemporary, race, humor, adult. We follow a 22-year-old Darren who is content working at Starbucks in the lobby of Midtown office building. All that changes when a chance encounter with Red Daniels, the silver-tongued CEO of the hottest tech startup, results in an exclusive invitation for Darren to join an elite sales team on the 36th floor. After enduring a hell week of training, Darren, the only black person in the company, reimagines himself as Buck, a ruthless salesman unrecognizable to his friends and family. But when things turn tragic at home and Buck feels his hit rock bottom, he begins to hatch a plan to help young people of color infiltrate America's sales force, setting off a chain of events that forever changes the game. I mean, it sounds so good. So good. Next is Snow by John Banville. This is mystery fiction, Ireland, historical fiction, crime, mystery, thriller. The detective Inspector St. John Strafford has been summoned to County Wexford to investigate a murder. A parish priest has been found dead in Ballyglass House, the family seat of the aristocratic, secretive Osborne family. It's set in 1957, and the Catholic Church rules Ireland with an iron fist. Stafford, flinty, visibly Protestant, and determined to identify the murderer, faces obstruction at every turn, from the heavily accumulating snow to the culture of silence in the tight-knit community. I just have a feeling about this book. It seems both cozy because it's murder mystery in winter with the snow, but also because it deals with, you know, culture and religion, plus the cover is so beautiful. I just have a feeling about this, okay? Next is a book that was recommended by Lianne from Literary Diversions, Address Unknown by Catherine Cressman Taylor. She raved about this book. She mentioned that it's very short, but it packs a punch, and that she was sobbing at the end of it, and it's an incredible story. Rediscovered classic, originally published in 1938 and now an international bestseller. It says a series of fictional letters between a Jewish art dealer living in San Francisco and his former business partner who has returned to Germany. Address Unknown is a haunting tale of enormous and enduring impact. I mean, that's really all I know. It says here that it's 64 pages long, so it's a very short book. Next is The Boy from the Mish by Gary Lonsborough. This came out in February this year. Genres young adult, contemporary, LGBT, romance, fiction, cultural, Australia, why did I say that? Funny and heartwarming queer indigenous YA novel set in a rural Australian community about 17-year-old Jackson finding the courage to explore who he is even if it scares him. It's almost Christmas, school's out, and he's hanging with his mates, teasing the visiting tourists, avoiding the racist boys in town. Just like every year, Jackson's auntie and annoying little cousins visit from the city, but this time a mysterious boy with a troubled past comes with them. As their friendship evolves, Jackson must confront the changing shapes of his relationship with his friends, family, and community. And he must face the darkest secret, a secret he thought he'd locked away for good. Its own voices, it looks both hard-hitting and very fun, and I'm just very excited about this one. Next is The Library of the Dead by T.L. Huchu. Anyway, genres: urban fantasy, mystery fiction, adult paranormal, ghosts, books about books. Sixth Sense meets Stranger Things in T.L. Huchu's The Library of the Dead, a sharp contemporary fantasy following a precocious and cynical teen as she explores the shadowy, magical underside of modern Edinburgh. When a child goes missing in Edinburgh's darkest streets, young Ropa investigates. She'll need to call on Zimbabwean magic as well as her Scottish pragmatism to hunt down clues. But as shadows lengthen, will the hunter become the hunted? It just sounds so fun. Now let's move on to April finds. The first book on the list is Firekeeper's Daughter. Is anyone not talking about this book, really? The genre is young adult mystery fiction, contemporary mystery thriller, fantasy teen. And it came out in March, and so many people have been talking about this book. As a biracial, unenrolled tribal member and the product of a scandal, 18-year-old Donis has never quite fit in, both in her hometown and on the nearby Ojibwe reservation. The only bright spot is meeting Jamie, the charming new recruit on her brother's Levi's hockey team. Donis witnesses a shocking murder, thrusting her into the heart of a criminal investigation. Reluctantly, Donis agrees to go undercover, but secretly pursues her own investigation, tracking down the criminals with her knowledge of chemistry and traditional medicine. This sounds so good. Debut author Angeline Bully crafts a groundbreaking YA thriller about a native teen who must root out the corruption in her community. I mean, yes. Next is The Postscript Murders by Ellie Griffiths. I don't remember where I heard of this book. The cover looks very familiar, so I'm pretty sure it started with the cover and then I looked it up and I thought it was interesting. This came out in March. The genres are mystery, fiction, crime, mystery thriller, British literature, contemporary adult. It looks like this is the second book in a series, the series called Harbinger Cower. Murder leaps off the page when crime novelists begin to turn up dead in this intricate new novel by internationally best-selling author Ellie Griffiths, a literary mystery perfect for fans of Anthony Horowitz and Agatha Christie. I love both Anthony Horowitz and Agatha Christie, so I feel like this would be perfect for me. The death of a 90-year-old woman with a heart condition should not be suspicious. Detective Sergeant Harbinger Kaur certainly sees nothing out of the ordinary when Peggy's caretaker, Natalka, begins to recount Peggy Smith's passing. But Natalka had a reason to be at the police station. While clearing out Peggy's flat, she noticed an unusual number of crime novels, all dedicated to Peggy. And each psychological thriller included a mysterious postscript, PS for PS. When a gunman breaks into the flat to steal a book and its author is found dead shortly thereafter, Detective Kaur begins to think that perhaps there is no such thing as an unsuspicious death after all. I like books about books and I like books about murder, so... Next is a book I learned about from Leanne Rose's channel, and it's called Lock In by Phoebe Lockhurst. It's supposed to come out in July this year. The genres are fiction, romance, contemporary. You've heard of a locked room mystery, now get ready for a locked room love story. Okay, meet housemates Ellen, Alexa, and Jack. They're broke, they're lonely, they're hungover, and things are about to go from bad to worse. Whilst nursing the hangover from hell, Ellen stumbles downstairs to discover the kitchen slowly filling with water. Panic quickly sets in, and the three flatmates find themselves in the attic, desperately attempting to switch off the water supply. But when Ben, Alexa's hinge date from the night before, walks in, the door slams, the handle breaks, and all four of them are trapped. Will these housemates ever get out of this attic? Will they survive the wrath of Alias, the evil landlord? And will Jack please stop live tweeting this whole fiasco? This sounds like a fun play, to be honest. And like just the tone of the blurb is making me very excited. It sounds so much fun, and I'm here for it. I can't wait for this book to come out. Next book I recently mentioned in my Shakespeare inspired book recommendation video, The Tragedy of Arthur by Arthur Phillips. It came out in 2011. The genres are fiction, literary fiction, contemporary, books about books, unfinished, American. The doomed hero of this book is named after the author of this book. Arthur Phillips is a young man struggling with a larger-than-life father, a con artist who works wonders of deception, but is a most unreliable parent. And right before his death, he shares with Arthur a secret he's kept for a long time, a previous unknown play by Shakespeare titled The Tragedy of Arthur. And so Arthur and his sister are trying to publish this book, and says by turns hilarious and haunting, this novel, which includes Shakespeare's lost King Arthur play in its 5-act entirety, captures the very essence of romantic and a familial love and betrayal. The Tragedy of Arthur explores the tension between storytelling and truth-telling, the thirst for originality in all our lives, and the act of literary myth-making. The thing that sold me about this book is that Arthur Phillips, the writer, actually wrote this lost play. He wrote a 5-act Shakespearean play for this book, and it's in this book, and that's so impressive to me that I just want to read this book, because that's incredible that he did that. Next is The Swerve: How the World Became Modern by Stephen Greenblatt. Genres: history, nonfiction, philosophy, science, religion, historical, classics, books about books. It came out in 2012. And what really sold me on this is that Rosie marked it as to read, which is always a good sign. One of the world's most celebrated scholars, Stephen Greenblatt, has crafted both an innovative work of history and a thrilling story of discovery, in which one manuscript plucked from 1,000 years of neglect changed the course of human thought and made possible the world as we know it. Nearly 600 years ago, a short, genial, cannily alert man in his late 30s took a very old manuscript off a library shelf, saw with excitement what he had discovered, and ordered that it be copied. That book was the last surviving manuscript of an ancient Roman philosophical epic on the nature of things by Lucretius, a beautiful poem of the most dangerous ideas, that the universe functioned without the aid of gods, that religious fear was damaging to human life, and that matter was made up of very small particles in eternal motion, colliding and swerving in new directions. The copying and translation of this ancient book, the greatest discovery of the greatest book hunter of his age, fueled the Renaissance. There's a lot of critique in the reviews, but I want to see for myself if this is good or not. I am intrigued either way. And this is it. These are all the books that I added to my want to read shelf on Goodreads in April, and some books that I added in March. I hope you found this interesting. Let me know if you read any of these. Am I right to add them to my TBR list? Or if maybe you found something that you might want to add to your TBR list. Or just leave me an emoji to let me know that you were here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.